Hey guys, Benjamin Cloughessy here. I'm super excited to introduce the project called HelpEasy that I'm submitting to graduate with honors from Nucamp's full stack web and mobile app development program. So without further ado, let's jump in. The full stack project for HelpEasy is actually a continuation of the front end project, which was a mobile application built with React Native and serves as a tool to help the user find nearby homeless shelters based on their current location so that they can provide assistance to those who are experiencing homelessness by helping them find shelter. The backend is built with Node.js and Express. I'm using MongoDB Atlas as my database. And the backend really was created to solve a very specific problem, which I will introduce momentarily. So here I'll enter the search screen and click search. I won't get into the details of the front end because I've already explained the project in a separate video. So here we're searching for nearby shelters based on current location. There are no results because I live in a rural area, but I've pre-coded 3 major cities. So I'll select Cincinnati, Ohio, and it will return homeless shelters in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now the problem that I'm trying to solve is that I do not see a shelter that should be on this list. So I will jump over to the Add Shelter tab, and any user can request to add a shelter. I will type in the name, City Gospel Mission, a shelter that I know personally in Cincinnati, Cincy, Ohio. And when I click Request to Add Shelter, the React Native mobile app is making a post request to our Node.js Express server, which in turn is creating a document in the request forms collection of our MongoDB Atlas database, which we will access momentarily. See you there. I didn't think it was a good idea to allow the users to directly alter the database, so I built a third-party mediator called HelpEasy Admin, which is just an administrator website that uses a GET request to our server to retrieve the request form data, and it populates itself with that. So what we can see here on the right, City Gospel Mission, Cincy, Ohio, it's already retrieved the data that we submitted from our mobile application, and it's displaying it here. If I click on this, it opens a modal with a form that you can fill out. I've actually already filled out the information for City Gospel Mission just for time's sake. And when I click Submit, it will make a post request to our server, which in turn will write a new document under the collection of shelters in our MongoDB Atlas database. Now, if you'll take a quick look on the left here, I'd like to show you some server-side code. Here is the handling for the post request that we just made from our admin site. See the first line here is shelter.create_rec.body. So we're using the body of the request, which is the information from the modal, to create a new shelter using my shelter schema, which I built with Mongoose. Here it is on the left here. I structured the data in this way using Mongoose because later in the project we're going to have to merge the results from our database query with the results from our TomTom search API. And that merging process is much more efficient and simple if I go ahead and just force right now the Atlas data into the same structure as the TomTom search results data. Now, before we jump back into the mobile app, there's one last piece of code that I'm particularly pleased with I'd like to show you. We will jump back to our shelter router under server-side code, and I will show you the GET request that is made by our React Native app when it requests the shelter data from our MongoDB Atlas database. So when it makes this request, it actually includes the user's latitude and longitude in the parameters. And we use these when we perform shelter.find. So we're going to find all shelters, but we're going to limit this query because for now we only have one shelter in the database, but in the future we could have thousands. And so we need to have some way to filter the results based on location. So we're going to use the near query operator that is provided by MongoDB. It allows us to actually query based on coordinates. And so we're going to use these coordinates here, user's latitude and longitude, which were parameters of the GET request, And I also included a max distance option of 20,000 meters so that the results from this GET request are going to be limited to shelters that are exclusively within 20,000 meters of the user's current location. And finally, we enter back into our React Native mobile application. We will go to Liftoff and perform a search. While we're waiting, I just want to say thank you for watching this demonstration. There are so many exciting parts of this project I didn't have time to share, but again, I appreciate the time you've taken. Again, there are no results in this area, but I will click on Cincinnati, Ohio to search for shelters in Cincinnati. We will peruse the results here, and we find City Gospel Mission, the React Native app, performed the GET request. It merged the two results, and here we have the result from our Atlas database. You can click on it, City Gospel Mission, and it performs just like any other result from the TomTom Search API. It has contact info, phone number, address, URL, all of them active. You could click on the address, it will bring you to a map and give you directions, etc. So yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much for your time, and I hope you have a great day.